So today, I'm gonna be rating the most unique gym equipment that you've probably never seen from a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, this is completely awful. 10 being, I'm definitely getting a gym membership here because this is going in my daily rotation. Now we're gonna be hitting a chest and back focused upper body day, so let's get to it. But wait, if you notice my new gym fit I got on, this is a part of Abel's new Ascend line, which has this kind of cool runner's aesthetic, kind of Lululemon type of vibe, but for like a fraction of the price. Yet the quality is pretty dang good. Now this is the Ascend top, but I want to highlight the bottoms. This is their Ascend bottoms. I think they're honestly more my style because they're kind of like slim fit. Got this little slit, a little bit of a runner's aesthetic, but if you guys are interested, make sure to use code PATH to get extra 10% off. Let's get to it. Okay, so the lighting in this gym is pretty dang nice, but we're gonna be heading to this box and see that there. Do you see it? That's what we're gonna be working with today. If a hammer strength incline press and a Smith machine had a baby, this is what I imagine it to look like. This is essentially an incline isolateral Smith machine. Now the main issue here, at least for me, is I'm not broad enough to be using this, so I need to elevate my body. What I'm gonna do is, got a switch back here to increase the incline, I think. Yep. I don't wanna make it too high so that I start paying more of my front delts in my chest. Let's see if I can raise the seat. Okay. All right, yeah, this is the highest the seat goes. See how it feels real quick. Better. It's still a little bit too wide in the bottom position, so maybe I'll put something on the seat to kind of raise me more. A quick 25 on this. That's not gonna work. So maybe try this mat. Raise me just enough. Okay. I think this is as good as it's gonna get. Let's get to it. Okay, so I noticed with this machine, if you're trying to, because I'm not broad enough, I have to take a more narrow grip so that I can stay tucked and I'm not too far separated down here, or else it feels really, really awkward. Definitely don't need a ton of weight using this machine. Oh wait, hold up. We can work in 3 dimensions. So this is probably the best setup for incline though. Like it pretty much lines up. Maybe I'm gonna do a little further back. Oh hell no. Yeah. Yeah, I was already on the best setting. Keep it at this weight and work at like a higher rep range. I feel like if I go too heavy on this, it's probably not the safest thing for my shoulder. So let's get to it. All right, first set, here we go. Man, this is a pretty gnarly exercise. However, I will say, I think I prefer a dumbbell incline bench press more, just because while it's cool to have 2 Smith machines and it takes away the stability part and you're just kind of like pushing, I feel like this is a machine that would probably work on bigger guys, meaning like taller, broader. As you get lower, it gets a lot wider, and so all in all, even though this machine looks really fucking cool, I'd probably rate this like a 3 out of 10. The reason being is, for my anatomy, it just doesn't work. I'm not broad enough to be able to have my wrist still be stacked with my elbows in the bottom position. More, I'm like out here. At least it feels that way. It feels like I'm really like being tugged this way, which feels kind of not good on my shoulders. And while this isn't a total disaster of an exercise because I can always limit my range of motion, plus it's isolateral, meaning each side is responsible for its own weight in a very stable manner compared to the dumbbells. So I do see benefits of this exercise, but all in all, it probably just wouldn't go to my daily rotation because of how weird it feels on me. And this might be different if I was like 6 feet tall and like super broad or something like that, but that's definitely not the case. So for your short kings and queens out there, it's probably not the machine you want to use. Moving on to the next exercise. All right, so we're gonna move on to a second chest exercise, just because I only did one set on that Smith machine. And this is gonna be a lying machine press. Sorry, machine bench press, since we're actually gonna be lying. The key difference between this and the upright hammer strength one that you guys are probably familiar with is, with the upright hammer strength one, the hardest part is gonna be near lockout. So it's a more short and focused exercise. While that's great for your triceps, it's actually not too good for your chest because chest is a muscle that benefits from stretch-mediated hypertrophy. If you're looking from a very optimal lens, the most optimal part of a chest exercise is going to be when the chest is in a more stretched position, meaning you actually want the bottom part where your arms are bent to be harder than the part where your elbows are locked out, because your chest is going to be more shortened here compared to here. Your chest is going to be more stretched in this position. And with a machine press like this, the hardest part is going to be in this bottom position, which matches where we would want the exercise to be hard for optimal chest growth. Now, does it feel good on my shoulders? That is a different story. I think the hammer strength feels better, but we're gonna try to make it work. I'm gonna work with a lighter weight. I'm gonna work at a higher rep range to avoid any risk of potential injuries associated with using interesting equipment meant for huge men. Here we go. So, this exercise, I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10. The unique thing is it's more of actually kind of like a decline press because of how the machine hinges, which gives it bonus points because I wouldn't use this as a replacement for a regular bench press. But if you normally do a decline barbell bench press and you absolutely hate the exercise like I do, this could be a great way to actually bias the lower chest. The reason why it's not a 10 is it feels a little awkward in my shoulder. It kind of has this kind of motion. I've had issues before with like irritating my AC joint, so I want to avoid internally rotating in the spine position like over here. So this makes it a little awkward, but it is definitely better than the Smith machine incline press, in my opinion. Just like the last exercise, it is an isolateral machine, meaning each side is responsible for its own weight, so if you struggle with muscle imbalances, it could be a pretty good option. This next machine is going to be a chest-supported row. However, this is not like any other row because the handle swivels, and we can also even adjust the width of these handles back and forth. Now, I'm gonna keep it wide so I can flex more my mid-back. See how this feels? Decent. All right, so when it comes to row variations, I always try to do something chest supported just because it's a lot more stable here. Meaning if you compare this to like a barbell row where you're bent over, you also have to fight the urge to stay bent over, right? Same with like a seated row, your lower back's always a limiting factor, but with a chest supported row, you don't gotta worry about that. The only big thing you gotta worry about is making sure you can breathe properly, but if you brace your core, it should be no problem. So this is already getting some bonus points there. Let me load up some weight. Bro, this machine gets heavy real quick. I had like 50 pounds in total and it's already getting pretty difficult. So I'm gonna add like a 10 and see what we can do. Just make sure you squeeze your shoulder blades back when you pull and then protract them, so let them expand out when you're stretched. So that's what I'm gonna be doing here. Let's get to it. Good set. Dude, this machine is heavy, like super heavy. I think overall, I probably give this like a 9 out of 10. I think the chest support feels really good. I feel like a lot of the other machines we've been using, they're like trying to look cool, but from the functional perspective, it's not the best. But this, I love how the handle swivels. I love how you can also adjust the width. And overall, it's also pretty lengthen focused. Like the hardest part is like around this area over here. Well, all those factors combined brings us to the top of the list from the unique machines we've been using today. So let's move on to the next one and hit some shoulder. Next piece of gym equipment we're gonna be using is this crab looking thing. Like, it literally looks like a crab, right? Am I the only one that thinks that?
Kind of does.
But anyways, this is actually a lateral raise machine and rear delt combined. Up here is gonna be the handle for a lateral raise, similar to the Arsenal lateral raise that some of y'all have seen. But then there's a lower handle over here, which I assume is gonna be more for this. Maybe I'm meant to be leaning on it. Maybe this. Whatever the case, I'm gonna be using the upper handles to hit my side delts. But first off, I take off the pump cover. Ooh. Pretty good machines. Quite similar to the Arsenal one, but the range of motion is actually a little bit better. Like you can go higher, but then the resistance drops off up here. It's not like you're struggling, and then boom, it gets easy all of a sudden at the top. Once again, all these machines I've been using are isolateral, meaning each side is responsible for its own weight. These gym equipment companies are realizing that people want alternatives to like dumbbell-like movements, which is why pretty much everything I've been using has been isolateral. I guess the one gripe I would say is when you think about what this is supposed to replace, which is probably gonna be some sort of dumbbell lateral raise, this is actually not too much different from a dumbbell lateral raise. Because when we're looking at the resistance profile, it's super easy here. Like I can do this forever. However, it gets hard at the top of the range of motion when my side delts are shortened. And if we think about with a dumbbell lateral raise, the hardest part is once again gonna be in this top area. So this bottom more stretch area, which is arguably the more important part for hypertrophy, isn't really getting trained that hard. And maybe there's some engineering that can be done to make this more lengthen focus. But with that in mind, like I guess the only benefit you're getting is technically more stable because it's a machine, but honestly, I feel like I most prefer using dumbbells instead. I personally like doing lateral raises with straight arms, but I know for some of you, it can kind of give you some elbow pain, so you guys probably like to do it bent, and I think this is kind of awkward to do it bent. Maybe this is built for like a 6'2" person, but kind of just my experience using this equipment. So with that said, I give this like a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's as bad as the chest exercise I were doing. Like it's not like debilitating. This can definitely get the job done and it's pretty fun to use, but it's like, it's not really doing anything different from a resistance profile perspective. There's kind of like no point for this to exist. Can't comment on the rear delt one though. All right, now we're gonna be moving the arms. And we got this machine, overhead tricep extension, another Arsenal machine. I think Arsenal is kind of regarded as like the best boutique gym equipment company, so it should be pretty good. I like that. Up the weight. Only problem with this one is the seat's a little bit wobbly, but we'll make it work. Also, I feel like maybe the seat was pivoted upward, so you're not like sliding off the seat. Be a little bit better, but let's see how a real working set would feel. Good set. Man, I like this. It feels good. The resistance profile is pretty good too. The hardest part's like in this bomb stretch position. and it actually does a pretty good job of maintaining tension throughout the entire part of the range of motion. This upper over here still feels pretty hard. I actually really like this machine, and I think because it's a machine, I'm able to even like inch my way and get one extra rep, so you can like kind of milk out failure a little bit more compared to if I was using dumbbells. For sure wouldn't be able to do it. Barbell skull crusher wouldn't be able to do it. Cable tricep extension is debatable whether I would have been able to get that last rep, but this is just a lot more stable because it's a machine. You know, you're seated. And on top of that, while it isn't isolateral, similar to working with a barbell, right? Both arms are kind of working on the same weight. That'd be the best option if you're really trying to correct your arm-to-arm muscle imbalance. Otherwise, I like this. I like this a lot. I'd give this like, it's tough because this might be first actually in my opinion, but I think I'll have to give it like a 8.75, so slightly below the chest supported machine row, just because of the fact that it's not isolateral, which I think from a hypertrophy perspective usually is better when possible. But low-key, like in terms of fun, enjoyment, this is probably my personal favorite. But again, just loses some points because, you know, this isn't separated. Imagine if these were two separate handles and there are weight stacks on each side. That would be freaking dope, man. But you know, maybe it will be less stable, you know. There's always a give and take you're gonna have to get. But I think that pretty much wraps it when it comes to upper body exercise. Trying out a piece of equipment in this gym that you guys are gonna be pretty excited to see. So let me just show you. All right, the last machine I wanna show you guys is also known as the unicorn of gym equipment, and that is a pendulum squat. This is probably the most commonly known piece of gym equipment that no one can literally find. So if you've ever seen one, you definitely want to use it. I'm not even hitting legs today. The cool thing about the pendulum squat is this is going to be as quad focused of a squat that you can do. The reason being is because since your feet are out in front of you, you're actually never able to really fully shorten your glutes, and by proxy, you're gonna be biasing more of the quads that way. Another way to explain it is, if you finish the squat in this position where you look at my left leg, my glutes completely contracted, and now your feet are out here, you can't really like squeeze your glutes that hard, right? So the prime mover is gonna be the quads, and that's kind of the rationale behind that. This exercise though, the pendulum squat, is pretty much the most well-known exercise that no one can find in any gym. So if you have it at your gym, you definitely wanna use it. That's why they call it a unicorn. All right, here we go. Feels good. It's also quite heavy, so let me add a little bit more weight. Okay. Oh, this is such a hard exercise. I only have like 90 pounds on here, and it's like so brutal, I can barely get 8 reps. But the cool thing about this exercise is also it's still very length and focused too. So the large part is in that bottom position. Quads is also another muscle that has been determined to benefit from stretch-mediated hypertrophy. You basically want to do exercises where the hardest part is in that bottom more stretched position over here. So, and it's a good example of designing a machine that allows you to achieve something that isn't achievable with barbells. Because of that, I would also have to give this pretty much a 9. I think if they can make a way to make this exercise overall lighter, easier, that would be ideal, because I know a lot of beginners, even with no weight, they might struggle to actually even do a single rep on this exercise. But I'm blessed to have found this unicorn here. It's time to pose.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It almost looks like I'm on a Jubilee media set. So this is probably the best lighting I've ever found in a gym. So I'm happy to be back here. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully it was entertaining for y'all. Please leave a like to support my page, as my like ratio is quite low. It would be much, much appreciated. It's free. It's a super easy way to support me. Hit subscribe, but don't just do that. Also hit the bell to get the videos notified when I actually upload them, so you can be one of the first OGs to watch my videos. Keep on grinding, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.